Hi guys, we're sorry you have to watch this from home and not live, but we were facing a lot of technical difficulties. I hope you guys can still watch this tonight and attend tomorrow's session. So let's get started. Um, Okay, so today what we'll be covering is the basics of marketing, what is marketing, your 7 Ps, which we'll go into later, types of marketing, as well as trends, and then we can get into some activities. If you do have any questions, because we can't do them live, we'd love to take them over DM or email or whatever you find fit, or you can save them for tomorrow's session and we can have a question answer session before we get started. So today, your guest speakers are me and Vedika, and both of us, we like marketing and we have a little experience, I'd say. So we'd love to get into this session with you. Can we get started? Okay, so before we delve into what is marketing, before I delve into it, I'd like to start you guys off with a short video, and hopefully this explains a bit about what marketing is.
And some people think that marketing is just a fancy way of saying advertising. However, the truth is much more complicated than that. Although selling and advertising have been around for thousands of years, the concept of marketing only came about relatively recently. It was first defined in 1959 by the Italian economist Giancarlo Pallavizzi. An offspring of economics, marketing involves the analysis of products and consumers. There are numerous theories that help you separate potential customers into target groups and strategies to examine how suitable a product is to be sold or marketed to those groups. Marketing researchers test a product to see whether the target group will respond positively and buy it. For example, they can test a product's size, packaging, or its price. And sometimes their research reveals a market gap by identifying a need that no product fulfills, which leads to the development of new products. Thank you for watching.
Basically, marketing in brief is the action or business of promoting and selling products and services. So before companies launch a product, they need to have enough information about their customers and be aware of their market size, which brings us to market size. Market size is basically the number of individuals in a certain market segment who are potential buyers. These are people who buy your product, so it's really important to know what your market size is. After launching their product, a company controls a specific part of the market, and that percentage becomes their market share. In other words, let's think of a simple example. So if a consumer as a whole buys around 100 soaps, and out of which 40 soap bars are from one company, then that company would hold 40% of the market share. So there are two ways a company can choose to market their products. A market-oriented company is one that organizes its activities, products, and services around what a customer wants and needs. In contrast, a product-oriented company focuses on its product and on the skills that support that product. However, product orientation can still be important in keeping an emphasis on quality, safety, and investment in new technology. But a lot of the 20th century firms are more market oriented because they think that they can appeal to more customers and what they want. A lot of successful companies, however, recognize the importance of both approaches. Products must start with needs and wants of the customers, but the delivery of a profitable product really depends on the efficiency and quality in their product itself. So in our world right now, there are multiple companies. One perfect example is Coca-Cola, which carries out both product orientation and market orientation. They work on finding how the customers want their products, as well as market their product based on what they offer. Next. Speaking of market orientation, which we just talked about, it prioritizes and identifies the needs and desires of the customers, and they create products that satisfy them. Market segmentation is really important when you're coming to market. when you're coming to a company that market orients, because it's the process of dividing a target market into smaller and more defined categories. They basically separate the customers into groups that share similar characteristics such as demographics, interests, needs, behavioral aspects, or location. And this helps the company market their products to consumers more effectively. Now we get into the marketing mix. In total, there are 7 P's of marketing, and these are really important. But to get started with marketing, we first talk about the 4 P's of marketing. However, the main 4 P's are what we'll discuss first. Place, product, promotion, and price. These 4 P's are used by companies to identify some key factors for their business, including what consumers want from them, how their product or service meets or fails to meet those needs, how their product or service is perceived in the world, how they stand out from their competitors, and how they interact with their customers. So let's get started. First, we're looking into product. A product refers to basically a good or service that a company offers to their consumers. Ideally, a product should fulfill their consumer demand. However, recently, we can also define product as those that are so compelling that consumers believe they need to have it, which creates a new brand. It's like when you go to a store and you're not looking for something, but you see something and then you feel like you want it because the product is so well marketed. There are 2 main elements that I'll delve into for products right now. The first is branding. Branding is a process of distinguishing one business product from another, and these add great values to a product. Recently, having brand loyalty, brand value, and developing your brand have shown very effective has been very effective for a lot of companies, because you see consumers buying particular brands because of their brand name. It was one of the most important tasks for marketers, and even though it can be it can be a very heavy initial investment to make sure that a brand is widely known and recognized, it is essential for the company to keep growing. Then you have packaging. Packaging refers to the designing and production of the physical container or wrapper of the product. It plays a significant role in marketing because it helps distinguish one product from the other. For example, when we look at KFC, when you see the face of this man on a KFC product, you know that it's from KFC, and that helps with brand recognition and you recognizing that this brand is KFC. Okay, the next P we have is price. In definition, price is pretty self-explanatory. It is the cost that consumers pay for a product. However, marketers must link the price exactly to their product for consumers to want to buy them. In some cases, business executives may raise the price to give the product the appearance of being a luxury. Things like Supreme or Superdry, they purposely raise the prices of their products to make consumers feel wealthier while buying them. The marketers also need to determine when and if discounting is appropriate. A discount can sometimes draw in more consumers, but sometimes it can also give the impression that the product is less exclusive or has worse quality than their other products. There are multiple factors that a company should look in when deciding the price of a product. Their company's objectives, the costs, their competition, and customer demand. If they price their product too high, customers won't demand it. Or if they price their products too high as well, people might substitute their product for another competitor's product. So it's really important to place your price according to what the product is the company is trying to sell. Next, we have place. The places where a customer makes their decisions of buying a product or not. The goal of business executives is always to get their products in front of the consumers when they are most likely to buy them. In some cases, this may refer to placing a product in certain stores, but it also may mean placing products online or in advertisements where the customers can click on them and buy them directly. Placement may refer to the act of including a product on television shows as well, maybe in films or web pages. They must look at multiple decisions when considering place. These include channels of distribution, maybe through retail, maybe online, the physical movements of the product, from producers to customers, as well as storage, transportation, and managing stock, and how that affects the company's costs and revenues. Next, we have promotion. Promotion includes advertising, public relations, and promotional strategy. The goal of promoting a product is to reveal to the customers why they need it and why they should pay a certain price for it. Marketers tend to tie promotion and placement elements together because that's where they reach most of their core audiences. For example, in the digital age, the place and promotion factors are pretty much online and together. Specifically, where a product appears on a company's web page or social media is when they trigger their websites for the consumers to make their purchase.
So now that we learned about what a good needs for marketing, the 4 P's, we have additional 3 P's for a service-based market. So the 4 P's also apply to the services, but for a service to be effective and marketed properly, another set of 3 P's that needs to be taken into consideration so that the marketing is effective. Starting with, you all must have gone to a restaurant or a salon where the people and their attitude determines your willingness to stay there or not. When you go to your hairdresser, you want him to be cooperative, you want him to be you want that person to be understanding of what you want with your haircut needs, and that is what people in marketing is and what people in services is. It is the effectiveness of people in marketing to entice customer demands. Okay, so that is how you get the customer to demand a product with your good appearance or good body language. You get more demand for your product through efficiency of your service, and that is how people affect the marketing of your product or a service. The attitude that the people have, the person who is providing the service, is very important when it comes to marketing the service properly. Take an example of a restaurant. You would want good waiters or good servers to have a friendly behavior or a cooperative behavior, and that is what would want you to go to the restaurant again, because people were good to you, and that because of that you like that service over there. Moving on to process. Everyone hates waiting time. You all hate sitting and getting bored for your service to come. We all hate when the type of payment method we want isn't available. That is what processes is about. Processes in marketing is how convenient you make it for your target market to get the product or service that you are delivering. It's talking about how easy you make your service deliverable to your audience. Be it easier payment methods, less waiting time, very good after sales or customer services at the time of the purchase or when the person is coming for that service, and the delivery processes like giving it on time, serving it on time, and all those are what affects the marketing process. Coming to physical evidence is important in businesses like hotels, theme parks, because when you go to a restaurant, don't you go to the ambience? Don't you like the ambience of the restaurant? And that is why you want to go back there. When you go to a salon, when you go to cinema, stadium, you judge that place or judge that service on the basis of their ambience too. And that is what physical evidence talks about. If the service is provided in a good physical evidence, the marketing is better. Taking an example of an hotel, if the hotel is based in a village, you wouldn't want to go there because the physical evidence of there, the view from the hotel won't be very good as compared if the hotel is based beachside or somewhere very exotic location. Because the physical evidence of that hotel will help it market that the good marketing, the good beachside area is what sells your product or the service of the hotel. Now coming to the different types of marketing. So the first type of marketing is above the line marketing. Above the line marketing stands for The above the line marketing will be abbreviated as ATL marketing throughout the presentation. So above the line marketing is when you market to a very broad reach. It is like marketing on a national audience or a national scale. Think about a national TV campaign that goes. Think about the Colgate ad that runs on every television at the same time. A lot of people watch this kind of marketing at the same time and on a huge scale. Some examples of above the line marketing is television marketing. As I mentioned, the TV ads that you watch. I would like you all to watch this video and remember good above the line television ads that you've all come across while you watch television.
I'd like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love. Grow apple trees and honey bees and snow white turtle doves. I like to teach the world to sing with me. I like to buy the world a home and keep it company as the real the world sing what today. To buy the world a home and keep it company is the real thing. What the world wants today is the real thing. What the world wants today.
So this is a form of above the line marketing where we have television ads that run across the world or run across the nation. Another form of above the line marketing is radio advertisements that run across a particular city or that run across a particular place. Then the next form of above the line marketing is outdoor advertisements. We've all seen fun outdoor advertisements with big banners that reach or focus on a large scale and not an individual scale or like an individual person. Now coming to below the line marketing. So below the line marketing is the entire what above the line marketing was. Below the line marketing here focus on a person or a target specific group rather than focusing on large scale. So the marketing here, type of advertisements or marketing done here is done for a particular person or a particular group. Like when there's a Vodafone ad for Holi, it's for entire India. But when there's a ad on in your local newspaper regarding some tuition classes which happens in your particular city, that is below the line marketing because you are specifically targeting a smaller group. Examples of below the line marketing can be direct mail marketing. So KitKat use this KitKat mail marketing to send the people, send their audience a mail about what KitKat was, and they had started selling, giving out free KitKats in that mail, and that is how they market their new product KitKat Chunky. Similarly, we have brand activation programs. You all visit malls and see big banners and big brands sitting there with their stores. That is what brand activation is. They all have their products displayed there and they target the visitors of their mall and make sure that they sell something from that brand activation campaign that they have. Coming to through the line marketing. Through the line marketing is kind of a mixture of both above the line and below the line marketing. And it is a marketing done to reach higher customer base and generate more conversions than when it would only get it from only above the line or only below the line. Examples are 360-degree marketing, which involves all types of marketing, and digital marketing, which Kash will talk about later in the module. So why is below the line marketing trending in today's time? In COVID-19 and increasing prevalence in the usage of social media platforms, below the line marketing has picked up a lot. And out of this has come a new thing called guerrilla marketing. I'll talk to you about what guerrilla marketing is. Guerrilla marketing is an advertising strategy in which the company uses surprise or unconventional interactions in order to promote a product or service. It is a new kind of marketing where you directly do not advertise your product, but you use innovative forms and innovative ideas to advertise a product. So this is what an advertisement was there for a restaurant. So they basically put a shitty quote saying, "Eat here or we will both starve," which indicates that you are going to go hungry, but you will also make the people who work there, start. And that is how it will influence you as a customer to go and eat there. Guerrilla marketing basically plays with your emotions and influences to give into the product or buy the product or service. Some examples of guerrilla marketing, like Burger King, using its slogan above McDonald's is like always on top. And then this the one with surprise is a marketing used in US for party planning, event planning team. So if you go step on these, the flyers will come out. That is how they introduce the topic of how they can make innovative marketing for party planning done, or how they have innovative ideas to avail their idea, if they avail their service of party planning. Now Kash will take over.
Thank you, Vedika. So let's start out with digital marketing. Digital marketing basically encompasses all marketing efforts that use an electronic device or the internet. Businesses leverage digital channels such as search engines, social media, or email, and even other websites to connect their current prospectives with their customers. Okay, let's look into some elements of digital marketing. So to start out, website. They are what we use generally to purchase products. Places like Amazon. Most companies market elements of their products and services through their own website. Then we have content marketing. It's a type of marketing that involves the creation and sharing of online material, things like videos, blogs, and social media posts. They don't explicitly promote a brand, but it's intended to stimulate interest in its products or services. Where you see companies like NASA, for example, posting a lot of educational material about space. They're not necessarily advertising their own brand, but they're actually stimulating a bunch of people's interest in what they do sell. Then we have social media marketing, which is what most of us are privy to with the increased use of Instagram and things like that. It's the use of social media websites and social networks to market a company's products and services. It provides companies a way to reach new customers, global customers for that matter, and even engage with their already existing customers. They can also portray their culture, mission, and tone really, really well with platforms like Instagram or Facebook, things we use on a daily basis. Next, we have PPC and SEM marketing. This stands for pay-per-click, which is a model of internet, next we have PPC or pay-per-click marketing. This is a model of internet marketing in which advertisers pay a fee each time one of their ads are clicked on. It's what you see mostly on Google Ads when you're scrolling through websites. It's a way of buying visits to your sites rather than attempting to earn those visits organically. Search engine advertising or search engine marketing, which is SEM, stands for, it actually is one of the most popular forms of PPC, and it's what we usually face the most. Next, we have email marketing, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's basically a way that companies use to market their products through people's emails. It's what you get in your promotions folder in your Gmail box. Next, we have marketing automation. It's a technology that manages marketing processes and multifunctional campaigns across multiple channels automatically. Create automated messages that you get on your text. For example, Starbucks does this a lot. Whenever they have new promotions, they automate a message to all of their customers who are registered with them. Next, we have inbound marketing. Inbound marketing is a marketing method that is designed to draw visitors and potential customers in, rather than outwardly pushing a brand, product, or service onto prospects in the hope of lead generation or customers. Topical blogs, things like you see on Twitter or Facebook or social media campaigns for that matter. These go really, really viral. Things like GoPro. GoPro is a company that uses videos on YouTube to market their product. However, they make viral videos, adventure videos that we all stumble across and then want to buy their products to make those same sort of videos. The last thing we have is affiliate marketing, which is a process by which an affiliate earns a commission for marketing another person's or company's products. The affiliate simply searches for a product they enjoy, then promotes that product and earns a piece of the profit from each sale they make. This is what you see when beauty bloggers market other people's products. People like James Charles, for example, or Kylie Jenner, really, really famous beauty bloggers, send their products to different people across social media. People use those products, enjoy them, and then put them up on their own websites, marketing the other person's products. The next big thing that we see are influencers. Influencer marketing allows brands to break into the circle of trust in a way that feels more organic and welcome. You feel like buying a product when you see someone you're inspired by using a product. There are many pros to this, such as familiarity, cost, target marketing, brand loyalty or trust, and measuring your success. It's easy to measure how a product is well marketed because okay, I'll re-say that, the influencers thing. Influencer marketing allows brands to break into the circle of trust in a way that feels organic and welcomed because it is relevant, reliable, and relatable. There are many pros to this, such as familiarity, costs, target marketing, brand loyalty and trust, and measuring success. We say target marketing because a lot of the times a company wants to market their products and they use social media influencers. Usually those social media influencers have consumers who watch their videos from a very specific target market. Influencers are then used to appeal to that certain target market. However, there are a few cons to this. Reputation and limited audience. When you choose an influencer, you only choose their audience and not the wider audience that you may be trying to reach. Reputation also plays a big role because if that influencer gets into multiple scandals or has a bad reputation, then your product gets labeled with that scandal or reputation as well. Tomorrow we will delve into this as we can't because it's a live, it's not a live recording, but I will ask you what is the last ad that you remember seeing on your favorite social media and why? Okay, so for today's guest speaker, we have Mr. Gaurav Gupta attending with us. He carries over 15 years of corporate experience working with really large brands like Tech Mahindra, Deloitte, and a couple of other startups. He will be presenting to us his perspectives on marketing as well as his own content with us.
Let me know when to switch the slides.
Yeah, sure, I will. Thanks, Kash. Thanks, Vedika. So I want to start with something very basic. I'm sure you might have gone through it and already have some background to it. Earlier, I planned that I'll like kind of keep it very interactive. I'll ask questions, but I think I'll just do with both of you guys for now. So I wanted to start with very basic that what's the official definition of marketing? So what's the intent with this marketing department was developed over a period of time and how it has evolved. So the way American Marketing Association, short form AMA, defines it as marketing is the activity and processes for creating, communicating, and delivering values for who? For customers, clients, partners. When I say partners, sometimes there are also stakeholders in the company, and then society also at large. So for whoever is looking to make the career in marketing, you should be following AMA closely. They have their own website, ama.org. They do quite a bit of research and release updated information quite often. So I strongly recommend that if you want to make your career in marketing, start following American Marketing Association. They have like good content. Next slide, Vedika. No, just hold on to it. So I have three really big examples from the past. When I say past, I'm talking about from 1900s onwards. So these means I want to just give you a hint for people who wants to really make a career in marketing, that you guys hold a responsibility to shift the entire thought process of the society. Marketing department has that much of power. So this video is about I'll just give you the background of this video. In Australia, what happened is they were saying high mortality rate or high, they were noticing high number of rates wherein old people are either getting sick, which is irrecoverable, or the mortality rate was very high. So they did a complete research and figured out a solution that if these guys start taking in calcium intake, their life can be increased by a good 7-8 years, or they'll not have certain problems which was much common in Australia. So what they did is they ran a campaign, they educated everybody, and they showed all the benefits of milk and stuff like that, and they did it for like good 2-3 years, but it didn't work. So finally what they decided is they decided to do it in a commercial fashion, and then this marketing agency got involved and they made this ad. Trust me, so this ad is on a lighter note, and how I wanted to start the session on. So they made this ad, and once this ad was released, immediately there was an impact. I don't remember the number, either it was 37 or 67 percent of the older age audience, they started taking milk. So this is kind of impact, if marketing done right, this is the kind of impact you can have on market and society at large. So with that message, let's look at the video. Let's see how interestingly and how beautifully they ran that campaign. It's from Australia. So, so the whole point is they kept it light, they kept it funny, and something there to motivate older generation. That was the whole idea. So this guy is a milkman, actually he's a milkman, and the message is like he's still doing the rounds even after that age. And that's the message they kind of pass. And just imagine the impact. It has nothing to do with milk, it's just towards the end, but uh, it was quite an innovative idea, and this is what marketing can do. So this is a first example. Second, next slide please, Vedika. The second example I want to quote is if I ask you, how do you imagine a Santa during Christmas? How do you know Santa?
Like beard and fair skin and red clothes.
Red clothes, white fur,
Yeah.
right? But what if I tell you that Santa was not like this initially? Santa used to be in tan color clothing. Can you just visualize Santa in any other color apart from red? What if I tell you that he used to wear green color clothes?
No, that's not
You just
possible.
can't imagine that, right? It just
Yeah.
doesn't come in the head. So earlier, so I have given the Wikipedia article. That's the reason I've given the article. Go read about that. What happened is initially Santa used to be in tan color before 1937. So there's this one person who painted it and made some variation of it, like in red, green color. Then the Coca-Cola marketing person took that. Now you'll be able to relate, right? That red color which he wears is very close to that Coca-Cola red,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So this marketing person of Coca-Cola, he took that concept, applied Coca-Cola red to Santa, and then now right? For
Yeah.
40 years now we just can't imagine Santa in any other color. So
Right.
that's what branding can do. That's what marketing can do. They can just totally change the perspective. So people imagine now because now it has become the norm. Now it has become the normal, right? But earlier when they might have changed that thing, the Santa, people who were very seeing Santa in tan color, they saw it in like Coca-Cola red color with all that branding. Imagine the brand impact they would have had on their mind, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Coca-Cola percentage in the market would have surged up comparatively.
Right.
So these kind of changes a good marketing campaign can do on the society. So someone who's looking to make their career in this thing, you should, I mean, this is the motivation, right? you could be that person who can just one idea, one thing can change the entire course of market, and of course with for your career as well. The next slide, please. The third example I have, a good campaign resulted in increase of 400% increase in orange juice consumption. So which means that a lot of money. Let's say currently we don't consume a lot of canned juices and all, right? That's not the culture in India either. I mean, because it's available for less price, we use it for like fresh juices instead. But that's a huge 400% increase is a huge increase, right? So which means that the company made those canned juices made tons of money with that. That's what marketing can do. So yeah, let's. So with these really big examples, I want to start with that marketing can have such a impact on the society, right? And you should be ready with. I mean, you should be all excited that this is the stuff which you can do. It's possible. Is it the next slide after that? The third slide, is it?
Yeah.
Can you just go back one slide? Okay, so this is the one. Next slide, please.
Okay.
Okay. One thing I want to be very clear about here, especially here in India's mid-market segment, people confuse marketing with sales. Okay, or owners expect that people whom they hire for marketing will also do sales for them. But I want to. Do you guys know what is the difference between marketing and sales? Is it the same department? Is it different?
No,
I think they're interconnected. Like
Yeah.
obviously they're interconnected.
connected, but not the same thing. Like kind of connected. Like marketing helps you get sales. Like if you have good marketing, you have good sales.
No, that's perfect. And the right word is that they are interconnected, right? So if marketing generate good leads, I hope you have covered the 7 P's, right?
Yeah. We did
So you've covered the 7 P's, right? So marketing department's main agenda is that doing that market research, doing that, understanding the psychology of customer, that what do they crave for, what do they like, how can they turn around an experience of a customer, what can they do differently. So it's more of a it's a very creative side of work. Okay, there's a lot of thought process, constant learning, understanding the market, doing the survey, being with people, all that kind of stuff is required for marketing. But sales is a job wherein you need not be understanding, you need not be learning. If you see, if sales start listening to people and be empathetic to them, they'll not be able to make sales. If you see a successful salesperson, he will never listen to anyone. He will have his own agenda. He will run his own stuff. So there are those type of people, and those kind of people will really be. They are not very people friendly person. They'll not have a lot of friends or people appreciating them, but they'll be really good in sales. And I personally believe, and I have seen that these two departments and the quality required to run these two things are quite contrasting. They are not complementary, quite contrasting, I'm saying. Okay, so creativity and like running keeping things in black and white doesn't go together. If you talk to any good marketing person, someone who's creative and all, for him everything is like gray, everything is like in a mix. They are the people who will never say confidently, yeah, this is the thing. They're like, everything is fine, yeah, okay. The creative people are like that. They are not very assertive. Generally they are not very concrete in decision thing. Sales, they are very clear. They are very clear what they want. So what the point I'm making is marketing is very different from sales. People outside India this works really well and they understand it. In India, it's difficult. I just wanted to put this point because I have worked in a lot of industries in India and all. Here they just mix this together and it doesn't work really well.
I really agree with you, because whenever you apply for a marketing internship, all they make you do is the sale of their product rather than teaching you what marketing is or how it has to be done.
Exactly. So that's the reason, because you guys are student, I want to give a very strong, the reason I have put in this slide is because be very clear, because see, currently you are young, you have choices, okay, to make. Okay, if you come across people who are just confusing this with marketing and sales, then you might just jumble up your career and might not take a right decision. So I would strongly say that stay away from people who in the name of marketing is asking you for sale, because these two are very different things. Okay, so that's the whole point of me putting this slide. Next one, please. Okay, now the entire B2B, the entire marketing game plan is very different from B2B and B2C customers. Do you guys know what is B2B and what is B2C?
Yeah, we've actually covered this in one of our previous modules.
Covered this, right? Wonderful. So have you also covered what does a sales funnel look like? A typical sales funnel. Okay. Now, if I tell you, like you guys are gadget peeps, right? You have a very good mobile phone right now. I'm a company. I'm releasing a phone which is like super duper good, amazing, and I'm like, there's this new phone from OnePlus One. They're calling it as something Qua or something.
Nord.
No. Apart from, before Nord, there was another one. Something to say with Ku. Okay, let's say I am releasing a new brand, something called as Kuku. Okay, and it's like 16 GB RAM, 256 GB ROM, and it is like super fast. I'm giving you totally like original Android OS, like no bloat, nothing, everything is super good, and it's priced also right. I'm just giving it to you for 33,000, but my brand name is Kuku. Okay, so have you ever heard of this mobile name Kuku? What will be how confident will you feel to purchase this mobile? Although the hardware specs are amazing.
A little bit, not very confident.
Not bad. So me as a company, if I start pushing this phone in the market, will spend so much of money. I have made like 100 lakh pieces or 10 lakh pieces in the Indian market, and I just roll it out. Do you think I would see good amount of sales?
Not instantly. It will take a lot of time because people will use.
People don't know the brand.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now what you're saying is already been identified and put it in this funnel. So let's say for marketing, if you want to go out in the market with any product, the first stage and the larger piece, if you see in the funnel, is awareness. Don't go into the selling straight away. Nord and other people, Samsung, anyone, even iPhone when they release their phone, Samsung when they release their phone, they just don't hit the market straight away. For 1 month, 2 months, they'll be just campaigning that, yeah, we are releasing this phone, this thing. They'll spend awareness. Okay, so the first line in the funnel is awareness. So let's say my other strategy, the proper marketing strategy is going to be like, I come up with this Kuku phone. I know that the hardware specs are amazing and the price range is also amazing. So which means that this is a very good product for Indian market, right? This is what technical people look for. They look for hardware specs, they look for price range. Okay, and both have been like really, really good. So what if I go in the market and I keep talking about never before that's what OnePlus did actually 4-5 years back. Like for 5 GB RAM, 6 GB RAM, they were the first company to start with 4 GB RAM, right? I was the first initial 10-20 customers to buy that phone. I actually got it from US. So that's how they attract technical market. So just spread whatever is your USP, spread awareness. Don't jump into the selling. You see, the last thing in the funnel is purchase, right? Don't get into that intent evaluation purchase. Don't get into that thing there. Then interest, generate that interest of buying them phone. Okay, and then make them consider. So what consideration stage is whenever someone is looking to buy a phone, right? So how will you appear? They will have some 5-10 brands in their mind, 2-3 at least. So if you appear somewhere in the advertisement, when they're looking at Facebook, when they're looking at Instagram, if your phone appears, they're more likely to take action. Okay, they're more likely to click there and then buy. That's why what happens is when you look for tickets on Make My Trip, or if you look for some product on Amazon or something, after that, if you go to any other website, you will notice that those products start appearing, right? In digital marketing, this is called as remarketing or retargeting campaigns. So that is nothing but playing in that consideration stage, which means They made you aware of that product somewhere. Okay, they made you aware of that product that we exist, and then you saw the product. So there might be hundreds of people who are not interested in that product at all. They don't look at it, but you clicked on it and then you looked at the product, which means the company understand that you are somewhat interested, or at least you are curious about that product, right? Then what they do is they run remarketing, retargeting campaigns all over the websites, all different websites. Wherever you go, you'll appear, and you will think like, oh my god, this brand appears. So in your subconscious mind, they're constantly hitting you by showing that those images to you, right? And then so when you are in the next funnel levels, when you are interested in buying, that brand will remain on the top of your head, and if that appears, you are more likely to buy it. That's it. It's more of a psychological journey also. Marketing has a lot to do with psychology. So if you have that kind of interest, if you like working with people, if you want to understand that why someone behaves like that, do things like that, stuff like that, then it's going to be amazing. So marketing also works amazingly well for someone who has any psychology background, either in this thing. It's not mandatory though, but it just works very well in this combination. So let's say if you go to universities and something, if you have electives and all, you can keep psychology also as one of your choice and then do marketing. I'm just suggesting. I don't know how foreign study concept works, but just an idea that psychology and marketing goes really well. Okay. Next slide, please. So that's B2B and B2C funnel basically for you. So now I have listed out some points that what does it take to be a good marketer. Okay, not an average one, to be a really good marketer. Okay, so someone should have an attitude of research and constant learning attitude, because marketing is one thing which will never ever stay stable. So I have a real life example after this, and I'm going to prove you that how things are working and how it literally worked on one particular campaign. Okay, so marketing is one thing which will never ever stabilize, or you can say that this is the formula which works on this particular industry, for this particular people, for this particular company. It's never going to happen in marketing. The same thing which worked for one company will not work for similar company. The same formula which worked for one company in 2019 might not work in 2020. It's very dynamic field, and you have to be learning constantly. You should be adapting all the time. And most importantly, the marketing person should be keen observers. So they should be like always like, so if you go to a supermarket, you should be like, if things are arranged in a certain way, it's like you should like, why is it like that? You should be asking those questions all the time, like how things are working. Okay, so it makes it really easy for those people to be in marketing. And then you should always be on your toes. I mean, the thing is agility. You should have that ability to flex yourself and do it quickly. You should be willing to change, and should be willing to change quickly. Again, I will discuss this in the practical example I'm gonna give. Okay, so so the third point is hard work plus smart work. Okay, now I have because most of the audience for this session is gonna be youngsters, I want to make it very clear that you might have heard, right? Smart work does all the difference. Be smart, do the smart work, all that thing, right?
Yeah,
You might
right.
have heard of that. What about hard work? Is that important, or smart work is the only thing which is important?
Both. Even hard work is really important.
Okay. So yeah, I've seen with young generation, I see with my nephews and all, they're just so stuck with this smart work thing, right? But trust me, that world is so competitive, and even if there's no competition, if you are in something unique, okay, then smart work alone doesn't pay anything. Smart work only with hard work will work. There is no alternative. There is no there is no situation wherein smart work will only work. You might have a brilliant idea, okay, you might have amazing passion, potential, or I don't know, you might have totally something unique, but if you don't put it to work, if you don't do hard work on that particular idea, it will not result in anything. So hard work plus smart work. Marketing takes a lot of hard work, researching, getting an idea, because there's a lot of money. Last point, I'm going to come to that. People will be spending lakhs and crores of rupees on marketing budget, and that's when you'll be able to drive results. So you can't, one simple mistake can ruin your campaign. Okay, you can't afford that, which means that it's gonna take a lot of things from you. It's not even marketing. You pick up anything, uh, everything takes, anything big, anything which has to shake the world takes a lot of effort. It's not gonna come easy, served on a platter. Be ready for that. Be empathetic. What do I mean by that is, now this is definitely salespeople can't do that. Okay, they can say that, but they can't do that. Being empathetic means so marketing is designing a user experience, designing a product around a user's need, how they feel. Okay, how they feel about certain things. Now that milkman example is all about feeling. There is nothing to do, it's not about being black and white, right? We have seen elders in their house, although that taking medicine is the right thing, taking healthy food is the right thing, they just don't agree to that. I mean, they're like, nah, I don't like it. They'll have all sort of temper. I'm talking about people who goes beyond 65, 70 oldies in the house, right? You can't be logical with them. This the way you have to work with them is like with working them with them emotionally. If you just show love and care and then do stuff, it works like a charm. Try this. So the point I'm making is, sometimes in the market when you have a product, saying the right thing doesn't get the purpose solved. Being empathetic, that caring person and loving person does actually make the difference. That's the whole point I'm driving. Okay, daring to take those risks. So there'll be a lot of risks involved. So in marketing, it's always a gamble. It will always be a gamble. You try three things, one will work, two will fail. First two will fail, and then you will get the formula. That's the thing with marketing. It's very, very rare that the first thing hits and works beautifully. So you should be willing, the company, I mean, you as an individual, organization as individuals should be willing to take risks. Okay, it's always trial and run with marketing, because you can do all the research that person is going to behave this way, that thing that way. I ran a fashion jewelry startup very recently. Okay, I had like a lot of plans. We're gonna do it this that, I'm good with marketing, blah blah blah. But then when you hit the market news, all of a sudden new realizations comes to you, right? And those are the people who are your consumers. So of course there's a way of handling that also, but a lot of realities comes into picture. So just understand that there are risks involved with the marketing subject. And of course it's a budget sensitive field. The kind of money you put in, it has direct impact with the kind of impact or the kind of people you touch, the number of people you touch in the market. Okay, so marketing takes a lot of budget. Okay, so that's the thing. So this is all it takes to be in marketing or being a good marketer. Yes, next slide please. So here's the live example which I have. I ran this. I'm a digital consultant to an entrepreneur. What he does is he helps people write books. My client help people write books, help them become a first-time author. Let's say if you have a certain talent and if you want to write a book, but usually people, if they go on their own, it takes longer journey and they figure out things on their own. But this guy has already figured out a way. And if you want to write a book, he can help you write a book in 30 days. That's what my client's product is. Okay. So lockdown happened on March 22nd or so, March 22nd or 24th. So he went live with his product on March 27th or something. Working together, we went live on March 27th. In two months or so, 2 months plus 1 or 2 weeks. These are some numbers, okay? Because a lot of marketing usually these days is happening on a digital platform. So we ran some Facebook ads. Look at these numbers. The amount we spent was 1,44,000, and with this amount, 16 lakh people saw the ad. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are some numbers. These are certain uh, words which you need to get familiar to if you're looking in digital marketing. So there's something called as impressions. 41 lakh impressions were like given. Um, Cost per thousand impressions is 34. That's also called a CPM. CTR is something called as click-through rate. Okay, overall CTR is 2.43%. CPC is cost per click. Okay, so cost per click has been 1 rupees 42 paisa, which has been really amazing. Okay, it is a very good number compared to the other campaigns if we look at. Fine. Next slide, please. Okay, so the perspective is what we did in this 2 months and 2 weeks. So I'll say 10 weeks overall. In 10 weeks, what we did is we added around 220 new customers. Okay, and the minimum ticket size for this customer is 10,000 rupees. Okay, 10,000 rupees. So which means that in 10 weeks, my client made 22 lakh rupees. Okay, which was amazing in his entire 1.5 year of prior career. He did not make that much of money. Okay, and on the face, so 22 lakhs in 10 weeks, it's amazing money. Okay, now his what happened on Facebook is his Facebook likes increased from, there was some 1600 number was there. His that number has gone from 1600 to 6240 people, which is again tremendous. I think it's a 3 times growth, right? Almost a 3 to 4 times growth happened there. So that's a tremendous thing. Now, after 10 weeks, what happened is, so that was around end of June. Okay, end of June, what happened is all of a sudden he's realized. So the formula for this particular client is, we used to run Facebook advertisements. We used to call people, prospect, or people who want to write books on webinar. So my client gives a webinar, then how he is going to help people write a book. So he used to take them through the journey. And if you want to enroll into the program, like 10,000 is the coaching fee, training fee. You pay me 10,000 over a period of 1 month. I will teach you how to write books. Okay, and he has already written, I think I was the 361st person to sign up, and after me these all 220 people have signed up after me and all. So I'm sure he has already helped around 550 people write their books or so. Right. So the point is now, after those 10 weeks, that model didn't work. He was noticing that there are a lot of people. First of all, the number of people seeing the advertisement to number of people coming to the webinar has decreased drastically. Okay, and then people who are attending, again, now they are not buying the course. So that's and not just 1 week, week after week. He has tried that for 2 months, like till July ending, till mid of August, he kept trying, but no results. Just 1 or 2 sign up in next 2 months. Now my question to you, the person is same. Okay, the advertising strategy is same. He is just repeating the entire process. Tell me what has changed. Why there was such an amazing result, this thing, and then all of a sudden the same thing, the same process did not work. So here I want to know your views. What do you think would have changed?
The marketing model was outdated, like old now. People were regular to see those ads.
No, so they are all new people. So that advertisement in Facebook, there's an option that the advertisement you show to people, the same advertisement is not shown to the same set of people. It keeps changing. So there's always new audience. They have never heard him before.
I can't. Gosh, do you think?
So this is marketing, guys. Think.
I'm not sure. I don't know.
So here some help. So March was beginning of COVID, right? And then June and July, people got comfortable with COVID. So, like, how was your experience in March, April, May, June? So, and what kind of impact do you think it would have had on the on this particular product or this particular journey? Just think on those lines.
People suddenly got free, so they wanted to engage them in like themselves into some activity.
Mm-hmm.
But by May, mid, and June, they were all like they were used to it, and they were like no more something. They were now used to that boring routine of watching OTT platforms or something like that. So maybe on those lines, like
So you're thinking right, yeah, but and you gave couple of those points right, but there's more to it. Anything from you, Kash? Can you think of something?
the incomes and everything was also affected by COVID.
It's
Of
just
course,
the
that's
economy
also part.
declining and like people getting used to the situation, so they're not like as bored at home anymore.
Sure. So let me give my perspective because I don't know. I've not gone and spoken to those people, but this is what my experience is that first what happened is so that's why I said agility is very important in marketing. What we need, what my client did is as soon as the as he started immediately after the COVID started, others all other people, there's so many other people who are in the market who do life coaching, very similar stuff, right? So I'll call it as his competitors. Okay, so just imagine that his as soon as lockdown happened, his competitors might have started thinking on those lines, but this guy was ready. As soon as the COVID hit, as soon as the lockdown happened, he launched his online product right after in those 2 3 days. So that's why I said agility, ability to shift fast and like quickly helps a lot in marketing. That's a very important key. So you have seen this one such example is now in the market you will see that there are hundreds of people who are selling sanitizer, mask, and all those things, right? But who would have been successful? Who would have made lots of tons of money? People who started immediately. Now everybody gets an idea. Thousands of people are manufacturing masks and sanitizers these days, but then they have to go through a cutthroat competition these days. Who would have made money? Who would have got a huge market? Who started early?
Yeah, the ones who were already making masks in like back in March start saying,
Exactly. Right.
yeah.
So that's why I say that agility is very important in marketing and in, of course, being an entrepreneur as well. So what worked really well that he started it quickly. Now what happened is because lockdown happened, not people were not doing training and coaching by webinars. It's this thing that it's not an effective model, but this guy did. And then what happened is you might have also seen noticed this trend. Earlier there were no webinars. Hardly in a month, in the entire month, we used to attend like 1, 2, 3 webinars all of a sudden. But when then lockdown happens, 1 month people were just preparing. They didn't know what to do. They just enjoyed. After 1 month, when I say that March, after April end, like in the month of May or mid of May, people started making, everybody was on webinar, right? Almost all, there are people were so much vexed of attending webinars. There are like people are attending. I, as being in digital marketing, I attended 4 to 5 webinars a day. I'm talking about a day. Okay. So too many webinars. This webinar about everything these days. Right? There's the clothing, there's website, there's digital marketing, there's life coaching, there's improvement, there's healing, there's yoga, there's everything. You just think of training, classes, everything is on webinar these days, right? So what happened is when there's like too much of webinars happening, because it's a digital thing, you can't be on this platform for really, really long. Okay, you can't do a lot of online stuff throughout the day. Of course, if it's up to your will and wish, then definitely. But listening to a lecture for continuously for like 4 hours by thing, it's just one-way communication happening, is not an interesting stuff. It gets dull and boring over a period of time. And that's the entire mood of the entire India, which was swinging in from new thing to finding it something interesting, and then it goes towards like boring, and then like just let me just get rid of it. That was the mood of India by the end of May, right? By the end of May and June. So that's the major reason I feel that it saw a drop. It saw a drop in the interest from people. Okay, so that's one. Second thing is a lot of uncertainty happened at the same time. People who were like, although they wanted to like buy books, if someone is like really rich and affluent, they have like probably 20, 30, 40 lakhs rupees as deposit. They for them it might have not worried much, but someone who's like a decent salary employee, he had a saving of like 3 4 lakh rupees or something like that. uh, they don't want to spend. There's no the spending capacity. People in the kind of pandemic and all don't want to spend on anything which is uh, apart from essentials, I would say, right? So that's the reason even my fashion jewelry business did not work. That's this is not a right time to start going in the market and selling fashion jewelry. Imagine now whose priority is it going to be to buying fashion jewelry. People buy jewelry to show off, like to flaunt it around. So now that is not the time right now, right? So there are certain business which will not work during this time. It does not make sense. So that's why I saw that. That's why that I see that also as another reason that his business might have taken a dip. And then of course, but as a marketer we cannot. There's never a dip. If there is no demand in the market, you generate that demand in the market. Okay, so the marketers never give, and that's when they make a difference. Imagine, do you think if that example which I gave you, that milkman example, there would have been way to work with 70-year people? How can you make them drink milk? It's very difficult, right? But in marketing there is always a way. By
Right.
hook, see how the solution is totally different. You can't imagine that solution. I mean, it has nothing to do with selling. It has nothing to tell them about the milk. They just showed a very good experience of someone who's drinking a milk, and that's it. That
Like
worked like a charm.
even that Geo advertisement where they are having Shah Rukh Khan fly away that with that balloon of Geo had nothing to do with the Geo network or anything.
So see, Geo's marketing strategy is very different. It is not marketing. They do something called as price play, right? So that's not, I would not say that's more of marketing, but that's an overall brand strategy. I mean, they killed it with that price and with that 3 months, 3 months, right? That's the reason people shifted to Geo. Now earlier we were like thinking, now even I had Airtel, right? So I have always been a high amount payer to all these telephone bills. At one point in time, I used to pay like 1600, 2100 also. Me being in job, I used to pay like that kind of money to these companies, right? So I was like having, and I've always had like most of the premium plans of with Airtel and all this. But then when Geo came, their speed was also very fast. But I wouldn't have tried that until unless they gave it for 3 months for free. And I remember they gave me the device. I have to be in queue to get that device. I was in Kolkata then, and I purchased it there. Okay, so that's the kind of, their marketing is very different. Their strategy is very different. I remember you guys were like would have been very very young when Dhirubhai Ambani was there, and when he initially released that Reliance phones.
Yeah,
And
maybe.
that tagline was "Kar lo Duniya Mutti mein," and they really captured the entire telecom sector in India with that with Reliance. But it went to Anil Ambani, and he messed it up completely.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing. Uh, Next slide. Okay, so this is the downfall. That's what. So that's exactly what I was telling you, that in marketing, it may happen that something or some idea or some product will work really, really great for a period of time, but that will also see a downfall. And you should be prepared. You should be in agile. You should really have that agility to shift your gears, to shift to something else, something else. And good idea is not to do that when there's a downfall. It's always good to have those alternate channels or alternate marketing running while a product is running successfully itself. Okay, that's gonna be. So of course I'm like I cannot cover entire marketing subject this thing, but you're gonna study it on your subject in detail.
Yeah.
But this, I'm just want to give you an overall picture, like what kind of how to look at with what kind of attitude to look marketing at. That's the whole idea.
Right.
Right. So with that, I conclude my presentation. So that's me. We are running Mr. Digital India as one of our new campaigns. In this, we want to help new generation. I mean, whoever is running their business offline, but during this COVID time, they think that they should go there, they should take their business online. We do consulting to all those companies who really think that this is high time that they should be taking their business online. So we do consulting and we guide them in this manner and
Thank you
take
so
in
much.
starting their digital
Yeah.
marketing journey.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving your time and coming here.
Thank you guys for watching and tuning in today. I hope you can come for tomorrow's session, and I hope we don't have any technical difficulties. And I hope our guest speaker helped you a lot. Me and Vedika were very happy to do this recording for you guys, and we hope to see you tomorrow as well.
And sorry for the disturbance today. We hope to not have these difficulties and have a good, great session, interactive session with you all tomorrow.
See you guys.